Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to the Brewing Business Show. This is a space dedicated to the craft beer industry and entrepreneurs who wants to learn more about mindset, health, wealth, business, and of course, beer. I'm your host, Pedro Meneses, and before we start, I just want to make sure you buckle up, crack open a cold one, and get ready to hear some life-changing information. Cheers. Recording. So welcome back everybody to the Brewing Business Show. This is episode 42. And if this is your first time, be sure to check out the previous episodes and don't forget to leave me that review on iTunes. It's not for me, guys, so more people can find the show and share it with somebody too, so everybody can have access to all this valuable information. And today, guys, I'm pleased to not only have a great guest with me, but he's one of my best friends too. And I believe he's one of the most humble human beings that I know, first of all. And when it comes to someone who likes to serve others, he's a great example of that, like his optimism, the way he handles life, the way he always smiles at life, even in the midst of adversity, is something that truly inspires me, because, I'm feisty as fuck, but this guy have all the patience in the world to deal with people and actually inspire others and help others, man. And there's something that you never gonna hear from him, and that's a no, because he always have that intention to help others. And today he's here to show with us, to share his life, his story, and give us a little bit of insight of what he has implemented in his life to build 10 businesses at this point and being successful. So welcome to the show, Jory. It's a pleasure to have you here, brother.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it. What an intro. I need to keep you around more often.
I know you need to hang out with me more often, man. You need to come see me in Dallas.
I'm just sad that you're down there. You need to come back to Reno, or I'll go down there, one of the two.
I will never go back to Reno, man.
Maybe I'll come down there then.
Yeah, you have to, man, because the energy here is different, man. There's so many great things going on in this place, man. It's unbelievable how much my life have changed in a year of being in Dallas, man. Like the mindset and how much our life has improved and the people that we have around. So you definitely need to come and check it out, man. But
dude, honestly, I can tell you just from what I've seen just an absolute just growth, like from another level. You're seriously, it's a growth that you don't see in people. Seriously.
Yeah.
It's been awesome to watch. It's actually been really cool to watch. It's actually inspiring me to go to join Apex and stuff like that. I'm like, wow, man, that's really like, it's fun. You know what I mean? It's also cool to just be surrounding yourself with people that, you care about and good people, you know what I mean? Good, like hardworking, driven, just want to go get it type attitude. You know what I mean?
No, totally, man. And to be honest, what you just mentioned is one of the main things that have helped me change my life, and that's be surrounded with people that is doing better than me. Like I feel great when I'm the stupidest person in the world, in the room, or the poorest person, because everybody just rich as fuck. It's like I'm glad that I'm here because I'm in the right room and with the right people, and that's a huge factor, man. I believe to be successful, and that's something that a lot of people don't understand, especially in 2020, man. A lot of people fail not because they didn't have what it takes to become successful, but because they were surrounded with the right people, listen to the wrong opinions. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's funny that you say that, because, when you surround yourself with people around you, you look like the newbie, right? So you look like you kind of look like you're failing in a way, but really what you're doing is you're failing forward, right? You're the one that you maybe look like the newbie, but you're getting better and better and better and better and better and better every single day. I was just talking to the solar guys, and I was just talking to them, and I said, I said, every single thing that you do, the very beginning, you don't look like a rock star. I don't care what you are. I don't care who you are. I don't care what you are. You always go out. You're going to be uncomfortable. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the thing is so the whole point, where most people they stop is where they feel uncomfortable. You know what I mean? That feeling of being uncomfortable. Sorry, I hear this. I'm going to take this off. So I feel like you stop you stop the discomfort, or once you get into a place where you're uncomfortable, that's where you have growth. Like, for example, like when you look out on a horizon, right? And you see as far as you can see. So let's say you go all the way over there. What do you see now?
The same.
No, you see a whole new world, right? You see a whole you haven't seen before. You know what I mean? So this whole new world is now opened up to you because you reached your new limits, right? So all you're doing it by being uncomfortable and failing is just creating new limits, creating new places to go. And
You know, and a lot of people have a hard time understanding that, man. Like you have to be intentionally put yourself in uncomfortable situations. You know, like when I started this podcast, and we're 10 episodes away from being the first anniversary, you know, so that's pretty exciting. But when I started this shit, man, if you listen to the first episode, I'm like so quiet, like welcome guys to the Brewing Business Show. And
I
now
know.
I'm excited because I've been building that confidence, but I had to put myself into that uncomfort position, you know, where if I needed to challenge myself, and if you don't challenge yourself, there's no way you're gonna grow up or learn something new in life, you know. And I think that's applied for everything. But before we get into more of that, man, why don't you tell us a little about your story, your background, so people can get to know more who you are, where you come from, and a little bit of your story.
Sure. Okay. So my story was, well, so I grew up, I had a family business, stuff like that. It wasn't mine, but it was my family's, and I worked there. And then I went to college. College added a little bit, but mainly just because of the fact that because I had good teachers that were actually entrepreneurs. You know what I mean? But I felt like otherwise it was kind of a waste of time at that point, to be honest with you, especially in business. Then I went back to the family business. I ended up having some issues, between family and stuff like that, just how we could work together and stuff. And I was wanting to take it to new heights, do different things. They were kind of stuck in the old ways of the ways that they wanted to do it. And I felt like I was like kind of a ball and chain, you know what I mean, attached to me.
Right.
Like I just kind of like, I always had to do it their way instead of like really taking off and doing something that I wanted to do. And when I did do that at the beginning, it grew and things went really well. And so it was really, it was hard to feel like harnessed, you know what I mean? So
Right.
eventually I just kind of, I left. And so I was actually kind of, I was kind of challenged. Well, if you go work for somebody else, let's see how you would handle that. You always have your ideas. Let's see how you handle it with somebody who
Wow.
actually, you know what I mean? Like that type thing. Right.
Yeah.
So I did. I went and worked for a gym, and I talked to her about all the ideas that I wanted to bring and stuff like that. And we broke records. We did really, really well. And it was really cool working with her and really growing the business that she had. But then eventually I got to the point where I just realized, someday I want to start a family, and
Yeah.
I'm not going to do that on that wage. I can't really do that on a sales manager at a gym wage,
Absolutely.
So what I started doing is I actually found a product that fixed my lower back. You know about it, the TENS units. You know that. You know this is the beginning of the story for sure. So I put it on my lower back. It fixed my lower back. So I started selling them at the gym, just kind of like a little side hustle, just trying to make sure that I had something, else coming in besides that. And I realized it was something that was helping everybody else too. So what I did was I was like, all right, there's something to this. Like this is like something amazing. I really liked it. So I bought the kiosk from the guy that originally sold it to me.
Right.
Then I worked it for about a year, I think it was, maybe a year and a half. And just by myself, just selling, I had one other person that I had trained. But then I had to put myself in an uncomfortable situation. And as you know, I bought a hair straightener kiosk, a makeup, and a skincare kiosk, right? So all these things I had no idea about how to sell, anything like that. I just knew that they made money and that they were a quality product. That's all I knew. I didn't know how to sell it. I didn't know anything about it, right?
Yeah.
So then I got into this I pushed myself into a really uncomfortable position because I was in a situation where I didn't really have any employees at the time. I was sitting there like, I didn't know what to do. You know what I mean? I was like, okay. So I had to learn fast, it was kind of like what they say, jumping off of, entrepreneurship's like jumping off a cliff and building a plane on the way down.
Yeah.
Right. Like you see that you're going to hit the floor if you don't like fix something quick,
Yeah.
So that's kind of how it felt. And so then that started to happen, started to grow there, and started to do like, some other things. I opened up a phone repair shop. That's still doing really great. I got a partner in that too. He's awesome. He works really hard on it. And it was kind of really cool because it was an investment opportunity for me, but it also was an investment to kind of I mean, that was like his dream, was to have
Right.
a phone repair shop. So I could help him, accomplish his dreams too. And we could do it together. And that's one thing that I really realized is it's so important to really help others, you know what I mean, in the
Yeah.
process, and help them grow and stuff like that. Because eventually when you're helping others and you're helping others grow, eventually it comes back to you, whether that's character wise, whether that's business wise, whether that's whatever it is. Eventually you end up, friendships, eventually it always ends up coming back to you. Twofold, threefold, fourfold. Because honestly, and I was just talking to somebody else, if I feel like if a lot of people say like, well, they have to earn my trust type thing, right?
Yeah.
I actually disagree with that completely. I think I give you the trust, because if you screw me once, but if I end up if I have a friend, I have a friend for life. You know what I mean? Like you and I have been friends we'll be friends for life. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, if I feel like if you go into it with a negative attitude, you may lose people that could be friends for life. You know what I mean? Instead of the
Right.
opposite. But anyway, that's kind of a sidetrack. Then I went into, let's see, I got stores, stuff like that. I started going to different states and actually opening up kiosks and stuff there. And then COVID hit. And
Fucking COVID.
that was a punch to the gut. Because what I realized, for me, I'm all about like, okay, let's diversify, right? So have
Right.
a bunch of different types of kiosks that are all doing different things. So if one's falling or one's failing, I can have another one that picks it up, right? But they were all in malls. So when
Yeah.
the COVID
So you
hit,
got hit really hard, you retail.
yeah. So I was sitting there with like, oh wow, like I may have just lost everything, and at that point, you really don't know if malls will ever come back. I was sitting there wondering if that'll ever even be a thing anymore, because with the way that people were acting, and it was just kind of weird. Nobody wanted to be in a place with, multiple people. So I was sitting there like, I don't think malls are going to be a thing anymore. So instead of kind of rolling over, I decided to throw a couple punches and started a solar company. So, and that's been doing good. And then the malls open back up. And so now I have a lot more work on my hands because they're doing well. And then this is doing well. So I'm like juggling 100 things. It's great though. Honestly, I feel super blessed, honestly, especially in this situation with everything that's going on. I'm super happy. You know what I mean?
But yeah, no, that's amazing, man. And I know that, I mean, we're going to talk a little bit more about it right now here in a second, because you literally build entire business during the freaking COVID, and it is growing really fast, and you're fucking crushing it with your solar company. But before we get to that point, man, you mentioned something that is very, very important, I believe, when you were in that point in your life where you were kind of like arguing with your family. They were challenging you, like they were not accepting your ideas. And you mentioned something important, that old way of thinking. And I know, and I see that a lot in business owners and entrepreneurs. Like for example, in the craft beer industry, right? When I started with the marketing company, with the craft beer industry, it was the same situation. A lot of people was not embracing the idea of using social media and doing marketing online and all that kind of stuff to attract more people to their business until COVID hit, right? Now this is the only shit you have available. And because so many people were not building that years before, a couple of years or even months before COVID hit, right? Now they have something, they found themselves in the middle of a bad situation where they cannot operate their business. And now they have to start from scratch. And that took a lot of people out of business. But you mentioned that because, a lot of people is always have all these other people that try to stop them, right? But in this case, it's different because you hear the stories of like, oh, the people you're surrounded losers, or they're not doing nothing productive with their life and all that kind of. But in your case, it's different because your family owned a business and they were running businesses. I mean, they were at the same level. That reminds me of my dad. I'm not understanding why my dad never allowed me to start a business when he was a business owner. Like, what the fuck are you thinking? Like, why do you want me to be an employee? But tell me, how do you deal with that, man? What were your thoughts when you were like facing that adversity from your own family telling you like, oh, you're not going to be able to do this because this is the way and this is the only way you're going to be able to do, when you were trying to innovate? You know what I mean?
Well, I left. honestly, I left. For me, it was, I was like, well, if you guys want it to be the way that you want it to be, then you can hire somebody else to do it, because it's easy to do that. It's easy to have somebody who's a robot who just goes and does what you say. You know what I mean? That's easy. It's a lot harder to bring innovation and creativity and structure and communication, and you know what I mean? It's a lot harder to do all that, and grow, a business and really build something different. I'll tell you, you bring up a couple things with like, adversity from people. I'll tell you, I had quite a bit of adversity from friends and family, actually. So friends, meaning like I had a lot of people that would say, people didn't like kiosks, right? So the kiosks in the mall, they're like, those, you're going to be one of those guys. That type thing. Right. So I had all that stuff, and at the beginning, like that was really tough. That was really tough to overcome. I'll tell you, actually, I think that if I were to say there was one thing that I had to overcome the most, the point where I wanted to quit, with that point where you because every business owner goes through it. I don't care who you are. Every single business goes through a point where you want to quit. So you can either choose to quit, which is 85% of people do, or you can choose to keep going. Right. But I'll tell you, between the customers doing the whole thing of the kiosk, and then also my friends and family and stuff like that, eventually it got to the point where, because I was so used to being, liked, I like people, they like me. I don't really wasn't hated by people, and I just felt hated. You know what I mean? And so that fear of rejection was really difficult. But once I got over the fear of rejection, man, I'll tell you, a whole world opens up. Your whole world opens up. You really start to take control of your own life, because you don't realize how much fear of rejection really runs your life. Things that you don't want to do because you're afraid of what somebody else might think it's so destructive to to business, to relationships, to friendships, to everything in your entire life. If I would recommend one thing, I would be to work in a kiosk for a year. Anybody, because you'll get rejected a ton. You'll get over that, and then eventually you can do anything you want.
That's true.
And if you really if you really learn from that, if you really learn from those things and you really can overcome it, I don't know, man. Honestly, I feel like that's one of the harder jobs you can do. So everything else almost becomes easy,
Yeah,
It's like putting yourself in really tough situations. And then it's like this one right here. A calm sea never made a skilled sailor.
Yeah.
Right. I look at that every day, and that's how I feel. You know what I mean? So
that's awesome, man. That's very powerful, because what you just said at the beginning, I just left, and I like the simplicity behind it, because now when I think about, that's pretty much what I did. My story, that I left my country and all that stuff, but that's pretty much I did. I left because I was also in that same position. I was afraid of being ashamed. I was afraid of the rejection. I was afraid of doing things. I was afraid of what's going to happen to me. What if I fail and all that stuff? But I left everything that was stopping me from that. And like you said, a new world opportunity is open, Now I'm here. Who in the world thought 7 years ago that I will here living in Dallas, building a real estate business and a marketing company? And that's just the beginning.
You got a podcast, and I'm on.
Yeah, exactly. And I have a podcast. Who in the fuck would think I will have a podcast one day, man? So you're right. That's exactly how you start opening your opportunities. You take one step at a time, and then you get another step, and then you start seeing, oh, okay, here's a new opportunity. But a lot of people don't understand that, man. But the reason why I wanted you to share that, because it's easy to see the rejection and okay, I'm gonna leave, when you are not coming from a good family. Like you and me, we come from good families that were stable, families that they have money, the families that they have build businesses. So it's a little bit more, it's different, because it's like you have that conformity of okay, if I fucked it up, I still have my family, or I can just it makes it different. Yeah. How do you deal with that, man? Because for me, that was one of my things, one of the things that stopped me on my early 20s is okay, if I fucked it up, I can always go back to daddy, Yeah. That was a stupid limiting belief,
Sure. Yeah. No, honestly, what really does it is you have to have vision. And then whatever doesn't fit with that vision, get it out of your life. You know what I mean? I feel like if you know exactly where you want to go, and I feel like you have to be clear with where you want to go, and you want to be as detailed as possible. Because one thing actually I heard from Tony Robbins, which is really awesome. He said, he says, well, I want more money. He says, okay, here's $1. Get out of here. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's more money. You just hit your goal. You just didn't realize that was your goal. You know what I mean? So when people start talking about what their goals are and where they want to do, they have to be a lot more clear and concise of exactly what they want. More money isn't going to help. You're not going to, it's what do you want? Where do you want to be with your life? What do you want to do next? How are you going to get there? What's your next step? There's a lot of stuff that goes, that comes down to that. And for me, that was not my goal. My goal was not to be just a robot for the family. I wanted to do something, I wanted to do something bigger with my life. And I knew that I wanted to do something bigger, and I was okay with using the family business as a stepping stone to get there. But I knew that I needed to get to a place where I wanted to be successful, not just, told what to do and just go do it. Does that make sense?
Totally. No, totally, man. And you just, gosh, you just took me back in time, man, because I remember, man, when I was maybe 17, 18, when I was start getting into, okay, it's time for you to start working and all that stuff. I remember, man, that pressure on my family, like, you need to follow your dad's steps. You need to follow your dad's steps. You need to take care of the business. You have at some point going to take over that business because that's yours and that's yours and that's here and that's there. And I never felt comfortable with that. I was like, this is not aligning with my vision,
Right.
And it is that pressure that why you want to go to college for this, why you want to do this, or why are you trying to get this job? That's not aligned with what you're supposed to do. Like, but what am I supposed to do? It was not until I got clear, and I think that's I got clear, and I like to call it precision. I got clear what I wanted. Then you get that precision of what you want to achieve, and then you add the persistence, like you did too. That persistence, because that persistence is what makes that difference, man. Like, if you're not persistent with what you wanted to achieve in life, you're never gonna fucking achieve it, because it's not gonna happen overnight.
And to be honest with you, one of my main things that I say is it's discipline. Discipline is what causes it, because and being in love with the process itself. Because if you're, motivation comes and goes. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't want to get up and go to the gym in the morning, almost ever. At 5 a.m. I just don't ever want to get up and go do it. You know what I mean? It's just not fun for me. I'm not really excited to do that. But when I get up there, I know that that's what I want to do. Is I want to be more in shape. I want to be more healthy. I want to be in, I want to take care of, I want to take care of myself, and I want to, hit new goals in that area. Right. But I will tell you, the only way you can do that is if you made that decision before you got up that day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You made the decision that that's what I'm doing, and honestly, that's where it comes to disciplined mindset. If like I said, everybody knows, and I'm sure you've known, I guarantee you've gotten to the point where you felt like, man, this is a lot. And I don't really, it's tough. You know what I mean? It's tough. It's not easy to get up on that next podcast or whatever, especially at the beginning when you're struggling. You know what I mean? When you're feeling all weird about it. You know what I mean? Because everybody feels that way the first time they do something, And then when you get there, and then with the discipline of doing it over and over again, because you know what your goal is, you know how to reach it, you know the process, you know where you want to be. Now look where you are. You know what I mean? And if you keep doing it, you're going to keep getting further and further and further and further. And that's just the way things work,
Absolutely. And one thing that is important too, I believe, when you decide to do what it is that you want to do with your life, and then you start putting that persistency, you become disciplined in achieving your goals. Most of the time, like one of the things that some of my mentors always talk about is like, shit's not going to happen overnight. Nobody's going to applaud the first year, probably the first 2 years, probably can be 5, even a decade, that nobody's going to even remember your name, but there's always going to be somebody who's watching, and people is always watching, man. Like right. 2 years ago, nobody knew who the fuck I was,
right.
Still to this point, there's not many people who know who I am, but,
right. But some do, and more will.
But sometimes, like what motivates me to keep going is like, I made a post the other day and somebody reached out to me like, man, your content really inspires me. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling trying to know or learn how to write content like yours because I really want to put my message out there. Like, can you help me? You know? And there's somebody who never likes my shit. It was somebody who never talks to me. It's just like randomly. And that's been happening several times for the past 6 months, you know? So the things start growing and you start seeing how even if you don't feel it, there's somebody watching and you're impacting someone's life, even they're not telling you about it, you know? There's always you're touching somebody with everything that you do great in your life, even if you don't know it. So that's another motivator for me to keep going and keep doing what I'm doing, you know?
And how fulfilling is that? It's literally the most fulfilling thing in the world to me. When someone reaches out and says, you really inspired me, or you really helped me get from point A to point B that I've been wanting to do for a long time, man, best feeling in the world. Really.
Yeah. It's true, man. And I'm grateful for that. You know, that happened a couple of days ago, but there's been several people that have been doing that, just reaching out like that randomly. It's just like, I need to keep going. And the funny part is that those things come when you're in that moment where you're like, fuck this, I don't want to keep doing this anymore. You know, this is a lot of work. And then eventually the next day you have that message in your inbox. So you have somebody reaching out and appreciating what you're doing, or like, hey man, I enjoy your podcast. I enjoy what you're doing. I enjoy your content. You guys are crushing it with real estate. You guys are crushing it with this and that. Like, I have a new client tomorrow, you know, that they're going to, they just reach out to me because of the consistency with the marketing and all that stuff. It's a new brewery that we're going to be working with. So it is exciting to just how that persistence just start bringing you the results, you know. But switching gears a little bit, man, tell us a little more about your company, man, because I think that's something that people need to hear too, how you were able to build something in the middle of the pandemic. Because while everybody else were making excuses, there were people like you and I that we were thriving. You know,
I've done the best I've ever done actually now in the middle of the pandemic. And I think part of it was, so I will say the first 2.5 weeks was the best vacation I've ever had. No employees calling me. No, I get to relax. I get to, you know, I was like, oh man, I finally get a little bit of like, you know, but I'll tell you, once I got to week 3, I was like, okay, I can't just let this happen. You know what I mean? I can't just let this crumble. I can't just let this fall. And so I had been thinking about solar for a long time in the industry. I'd heard a lot about it. I liked the process and the thoughts behind it. And I honestly, I started. I just realized, I said, I need to make a move. And so I instead of rolling over and dying, I was like, all right, let's make something big happen. You know, and it was one of those big risks, but I'm kind of one of those that's like, well, if something's going down, like, make an aggressive move to fix it, you know,
yeah.
because you can't like just let it happen, like let it fix itself, because it never does. You have to like go out and fix it. So so I just basically I got with one of my buddies who was actually selling solar, and we sat down and talked about how we wanted to strategize and what we wanted to do and where we wanted to. It actually started as OG Solar, and then it went to Reno Solar. So we had like we had different names and stuff like that. We were kind of running through, and then honestly, we just we're sick and tired of not working, so we just were pumped up to just go full fledged ahead. And then the second we started, it was like a bang from the beginning.
Wow.
We really just exploded, and I think part of it had to do with a lot of people that were really realized, wow, I may not have a job. I think there was a little bit of that, and then I think there was a lot of I've got a good crew. I like my crew, and I know you know some of them and stuff like that. I mean, I've got a great crew, and really they helped. They really took the motivation that I helped like build up, and they just took and ran with it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And just started really crushing it, and it was just really. I mean, it was kind of, I really don't know. I just feel blessed, to be honest with you. I don't even really know how to explain that. I mean, yeah, it was a lot of persistence, a lot of hard work, a lot of, thinking outside the box and innovation and stuff like that. But overall, I just got to say, I honestly just feel blessed about it. I just feel like I was able to create something. I knew it had to be something that was essential. because I didn't want to be like, well, essential. I think all businesses are essential. I think it's ridiculous to
Right.
call them not essential, because what do you use? You go to work, you make money so that you can feed yourself. That food is essential. So the fact is that job creates that food is essential. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
ridiculous to even think otherwise. So the fact that you even have quote unquote essential things, but playing into the, ridiculous narrative, I went and started something that I knew would be considered essential, right? And
Yeah.
energy, people still needed energy. So we were able to kind of go into that. And I was sitting there thinking, I was like, well, grocery store, but I don't know. A lot of work, and that's a lot of stuff I don't know how to do. That right now. Oh, it was
That's
something
funny.
a little bit more simple, even though it's not really, it is a lot more simple.
Yeah. But that's what happens, man. When you like we were mentioning before, and I'm not trying just to repeat the same shit over and over, but once you start learning how to take a risk, man, when you really find yourself in a really bad situation like COVID, you're not afraid of taking action anymore. And you say something very important, and I believe that's the reason why so many small businesses fail too. You identify yourself immediately. Okay, I have people that depend on me. I cannot come and act like a little bitch, and start just crawling into the corner and start crying. We don't know what we're going to do. And I have seen so many business owners do that shit, instead of realizing, and I think this is important everybody to understand. And I want your opinion on this. I believe that you're an entrepreneur, a business owner, you are a leader, you immediately become a leader. And then you have, especially if you have employees, you have a responsibility to take them from where that's what they're employees, right? Because they depend on you. They don't have the skills or the ability. They can develop it, but they don't have that at that point, to be leaders and guide other people. But what you did, you just say it, you understood, okay, I have these people that also need some work. We need to do something happen. And you don't let the situation distract you or put you down or get you into all that negative mood and all that stuff. You actually just decide, okay, let's put a plan and let's move forward. So I think that's very important, man, because a lot of people don't understand that. Like, you have a lot of responsibilities when you get into this kind of stuff,
Yeah. The other thing is one thing I've realized is one part of building businesses and stuff like that and growth is also character building. Because, actually, Stuman actually said this, and I agree 100% because I've been saying this for a while, is that basically that if everything collapsed right now, let's say somebody flew me over to an island, you know what I mean? To in the middle of nowhere with, a few people around me, right? I would know how to take charge, solve problems, figure it out, create some, whatever it is, I would figure out how to make it happen, right? Because of all the things that I've learned from business. So it's not like the business isn't the building. The business isn't the money you have. The business isn't, it's all here. This is the business. You know what I mean? And if you realize that, then you realize you can start anything. You know what I mean? You've already done it. If you've done it and made it successful, you can do it again. You can do something different. You can, modify. Yeah, not everybody wants to do that because it does take the same amount of effort to push through and learn and, a whole new industry. And it takes a lot. But you can do it. And as long as you have the willpower, and that's one thing that's, I think it's so important for people to realize is that once you're growing and once you're pushing yourself to a certain level, you're growing this. You know what I mean? It's not just your bank account. It's not just your empire. It's not just, you're growing this. So you have the ability to, if everything collapsed, that's the only reason why I was able to do that. Everything collapsed all around me. All my businesses shut down. What do? I just have to rely, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Rely on what I can do. You know what I mean? What I know I can do.
Absolutely. Yeah, man, that's awesome. And that's, I'm glad that you're saying that, because that is something that I'm very, very passionate about, the mindset, man, because that's also what have helped me overcome a lot of stuff. That's what helped us get through 2020 as well, and you're right. Every time you go through something, you learn something new, your mindset grows, and then your mindset starts seeing a new level of prosperity, a new level of abundance, a new level of things that you can accomplish. It's like, okay, if I make my first six figures. Now I can make multiple six figures, right? And then I can hit the $1 million. And then you start looking at those marks in your mind, and then you can start seeing how possible it is to just accomplish whatever it is that you want to accomplish in life. So that's very powerful. You're saying that, man.
Well, and you see all these people out there. Think about it this way: you got Alex Smith, a quarterback for the Washington Redskins. I know, you know, but I don't want to call him that. Anyway, so the I think it's stupid. I think it's so dumb. But he like snapped his whole leg, right? So think about it from this perspective. You got a guy that came in. I mean, honestly, I really look up to that guy because he I mean, even though I don't think he's the best quarterback in the world, honestly, he's got something that other people don't have. Is that he came in, I mean, he had the most adversity out of any quarterback, then snapped his leg almost like in half, and then came back and was the backup, and then became the starter again. You know what I mean? Like he pushed his way back through because he knew he could do it, you know? And that was such a big thing for me, because you realize how, I mean, you snap your leg in half. Most people don't ever recover from that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's true.
Ever think I mean, that's like not something that a lot of people even want to recover. They're like, you know, that's like, it's like even hard to even think about what happened. You know what I mean? But really, there's so many things that because it was in his mind, because he knew what to do, because he built himself right back up into a starting quarterback. I thought that was really amazing. Honestly, you don't see that with everybody, you know.
No, yeah, that's a great example, man, you know, because that's so true. And I think we saw that a lot in 2020. I think 2020 came to clean up the entire landscape, man, from people who really are willing to do the work, or people who like, you're not made for this, or maybe you were made for this, but you just made the excuses, you know?
It definitely separated the mice from men in certain areas, for sure. And I'm not saying that there aren't people with really like special circumstances that had, you know, things that they really couldn't control, right? So there are people like that. I can't, you know, I'm not going to say that there's nothing like that. But at the same time, I will say that there's a lot of people that gave up.
Yep.
And the people that didn't are actually probably more successful now than they were before.
True. And, you know, even that people you said that they have special circumstances, they literally have nothing they can do. I mean, most of those people, if they have the right mindset, I'm sure they're back on their feet, you know?
Yeah, that's right.
That's where, like, there's no excuses. Yeah, like, it can be shitty, man. I know you probably lost it all, but it's still another opportunity. You just go after it, and it's just that simple, you know?
Get back up and rebuild every time. You know, and if you get knocked down 7 times, you know what I mean? Get back up every time, and 7 more, get back up every time.
Yeah,
because every time you get back up, you're going to be stronger than you were before.
Yeah, that is so true. But yeah, man, that's very nice. But man, I'm glad that you're doing great, man. I'm glad that everything is going well for you. And now you're in 2 states, or how many states you have the solar business right now?
3. Well, no,
3?
2. No, I'm solar. I'm back down to 1. It was one of those things that I wanted to focus on growing here, more than growing into different states, just because of the fact that it was more centrally located, and with everything else I have going on now, I think you know how much I have to deal with on a daily basis. It was a lot easier to grow a centrally located business into multiple people, you know, having meetings, things like that, than to be able to do it with outside of the state. So I just kind of shut down that part of it and just focused with, but this one's doing great. So I'm happy.
That's awesome, man. Well, we've been here for almost 45 minutes, man. It's time to wrap this up. But before we go, man, where people can find you, and share your website where people can find about solar, about you. Somebody wants to contact you. I'm sure you inspire somebody would like to talk to you too. And also, man, what will be the one last piece of advice you can leave us for this audience, man, especially right now that we're still like in those first few days of the year, you know, still 12 days, 13 days into the year. A lot of people already giving up, but there's others of us that we're fucking full throttle, man.
Yeah. Honestly, I think it really just comes down to never give up. Discipline, you know, think smart, work hard, adapt, overcome, but never give up. You know what I mean? You can always change. You can always, work something out. Always, do whatever you need to do. The only thing that's going to stop you is you.
Yeah. That
So,
is so true.
yeah.
That is very true, man. No, I don't care what everybody says. You're the only one that can stop you. I have witnessed that. I have experienced that shit, and so it's true, man. Thank you
Yeah,
for sharing
me
that.
too.
So, yeah. So, what people can find you, man?
You can go, renosolar.org. You can find me there. You can honestly, you know what? Honestly, if somebody's if somebody wants to just reach out, if they have need advice, whatever it is, they could actually text my cell, if they'd like. We'll do 775-846-9371. I'm always down to help people and, investments, stuff like that. I always like to grow. So, if somebody wants to grow with me, they're more than welcome to reach out.
Awesome, man. That's great. Thank you for sharing that, brother. But anyway, man, I have a great time with you. You share very good information, and I hope we can see you soon, man. You need to come to Dallas very soon.
Yeah, dude, I do need to go to Dallas.
You
I could probably come like in March or April, because seriously, I would like to.
You should plan for April, because $1 Million Mastermind is coming. So you should.
Really?
Yeah, we're gonna have $1 Million Mastermind this year in April. So probably around the end of April. So it should be announced soon. So I will let you know, so you can come and you can come and hang out with us and meet all the Apex family and all the people that are people in our network. I know you can make some good connections and have a good time, man.
Sounds great to me, man. Seriously.
Awesome, man. Well, and for you guys listening, if you enjoyed the show, make sure to share it with somebody, put it on social media, email, tag me, or whatever you can do to help us spread the word. And also make sure you leave us that review on iTunes or subscribe to the YouTube channel so more people can find the show and get access to all this information. I will see you guys on the next episode. In the meantime, be safe, keep working hard, and cheers. Later, guys. Later, brother. Hey guys, thank you for watching. This show was brought to you by the Marketing Brewing Company, an industry-leading marketing provider and coaching firm. If this episode have provided with valuable information for you and your business, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you know somebody who needs to hear this, share it with them. Send me a text message, a DM, put it on social media, whatever you can do to spread the word. And lastly, if you're a brewery owner ready to take your business to the next level, make sure you head to marketingbrewingco.com and fill out the form to get started and get your free assessment of your current marketing and sales strategies. I will see you guys for the next episode. In the meantime, cheers.